Greetings, family. Coming out to another video. It's your brother Khalid. So make sure you guys subscribe to this channel here. Hit the notification bell anytime I do videos. Also make sure that you subscribe to my Patreon and get that up. About to post some more videos to it this week here. There's Elder Brother Khalid on Patreon. We'll discuss things as far as like finances, romance, how to make romance from an in-depth perspective. This will only be exclusive to my Patreon family. Also, I have some other giveaway and gifts up there on my Patreon. I also will, share information about how to actually properly draft like a a letter to get debt removed from off of your credit report. That has been successful for me. Cause it ain't just about sending a letter; it's about how you draft it and the terminology and the words that you use to have things removed from your credit report, so that you can increase your credit score. That's gonna be on my Patreon as well, only for my Patreon supporters. Yeah, man, make sure you keep pace with the brother. Brother's moving, man. I got some other things that's coming up the pipe that I'm not gonna really share right now. The things that I'm working on. I started to do a video on my Patreon. I'm gonna call it flip phone money. I had like a little young stack that I'm gonna hold up to my ear like a flip phone. But I said, I ain't got nothing to prove to y'all. You know, if you take my wisdom and try to apply to yourself, then that's great. If not, then that's your decision as well. I don't have to flaunt what I've acquired and am still acquiring. I'm giving you the information, so take it or leave it. It doesn't make no difference because I'm still moving. Thank you to people who have actually bought my book. Please make sure that you come to my channel and make a comment, ask me questions about it. I'll be more happy to speak to my book. And for those who want to get it, it is on Amazon.com. Just go there and put in Wealth Creation by Henry Jones. And you can order it for $8.99, the hard copy or the Kindle version. You have an Amazon Prime account, you also can borrow it. Just make sure that when you borrow it from Amazon Prime, that you flip through all the pages when you first download it, so I get credit for it. I appreciate that. And what we're gonna do right quick, right? Since I'm always talking about my book, we're gonna take and just read a couple of paragraphs out of it, so you guys can get a concept of what the book is about. And I would tell you that one thing my father used to say to me. He would be like, "Son," he would say, "mind over matter. If you don't mind, it don't matter. At time, you put the I before the T, it's me." Meaning that you control matter. What matters to you, what's mattering around you, happening around you, with your mind. And that you don't allow your time to be misused or misappropriated. You control your time. It's you. You determine how you allocate your time to whatever it is that's going on in your life, so that it's most effective and most beneficial for you. And I'll never forget those lessons. And that's one thing that I talk about, in my book and everything, is controlling the mind. And understanding that there's a difference between the mind and the brain. The mind is a spiritual energy that animates your body. Your brain is the soft, spongy tissue consisting of nerves and cells that send electrical, chemical impulses throughout your nervous system to make you have reactions to stimuli based off your environment around you. In a basic example of that, right? Say for instance, you want to approach a girl, right? You like this girl, you want to approach her, but that's your mind telling you, say, "Hey, this is what I like." Your brain will tell you, "Don't do it, because you may get rejected." So you decide not to do it because you're scared of rejection, because you're going to feel bad, have low self-esteem, all chemical reactions to this one experience. Whereas truly is a zero-sum game. If you don't get her number, you haven't lost anything, you haven't it's anything. It's just an experience. So when you learn to really, control that, you can be effective in making that approach and not worrying about whether or not you're successful with it or not, because it's just an experience that you're having. So that is the mind controlling the brain, saying, "No, brain, we're not going to be heard. I'm not going to let this serotonin and dopamine control my actions as to what I think is as to what I believe was that's in my best interest. Another example of that would be, right, you buy a car. You get the car, you're washing it every weekend, it's brand new, you don't want nobody to eat in it, the kids can't have nothing to drink in the car, stuff like that. And then 5 years down the line, it doesn't hold the same amount of value to it because it's an older car, there are newer models out there, people are driving, better vehicles and stuff like that. Now, you still respect and take care of you properly, hopefully, but it still doesn't hold that same level of intensity because it's a chemical impulse, it's a chemical reaction to a vehicle, what you believe makes you important, what gives you value, and that's why you have to control your brain with your mind and not let your impulses dictate to you how you should be and what you should be, right? That's why when you see people like in the Eastern arts, like the monks, the priests, the martial artists, that they leave society for days, weeks, months, years, and they go into isolation because they're teaching their mind, they're meditating on their mind, controlling their brain, so that the stimuli of the world does not impact their decision making, that they can shave off their desires for what their brain tells them that they need, that they have conquered with their mind, knowing that they don't need that. I don't have to have a $10,000 piece of jewelry that's really only probably worth $1,000 to $2,000 because you have the actual price of it, you have the retail markup value of it, that kind of thing, right? As an example. So what I'm gonna do, because I want you guys to buy my book, I appreciate it. I also want you to see the benefits of having the book and dealing with the wealthy mind state, because it starts in here first. All right, let's check it out. All right, family. So we're not really going to go in depth into this. We're just going to read a couple of excerpts from the book so that you guys can go ahead and get a copy of it. And it says here, well, consciousness, right? That's the chapter. It says, becoming rich, being rich, and staying rich is all under the umbrella of being wealthy. You have to first have wealth of mind, wealth of spirit, and wealth of emotions in order to gain and secure whatever monetary or financial objectives that you believe fits into your puzzle. In other words, you have to truly love yourself, be happy with who you are and where you are right now in life, right? When your state of mind embraces all these characteristics, you will be in a harmonious state of being, and this transient way of life can unlock doors that you desire, okay? Individuals who obtain this level are confident, reliant, patient, determined, positive, and optimistic, to be honest, right? That's down here, okay? Let's go over here to just jump over here, right? Another little excerpt. All right. Wealth of mind, spirit, and emotion. Wealth consciousness brings out the noblest, brightest qualities in a person. It gives vision not only to see the world as it is, but also how it can be and will be. Meaning that you have foresight to see things and events that can take place and will take place, and your role and impact on these transient things, that you actually can mold and shape the world, in your reality to your liking. Let's see here. And this is really important right here, right, family? There are many people who have the trappings of the well-to-do, but are not wealthy or rich in spirit or self-esteem. There are many people who think lots of money can cure ailments of insecurities about oneself. And in many cases, money, right, perpetuates these issues. So in saying that, right, let's think about all the celebrities and people who are famous who have infidelity problems, drug problems, and in some horrible case scenarios have even committed suicide, right? So money does not solve all the problems, right? Okay, so one more excerpt, right? Let's look at this here. Let's see. Let's go right here, right? There's a very interesting interview I found on the internet at spirituality.com that deals with controlling the mind and why we have impulses and compulsions.
These impulses can cause us to do things that are not always in our best interests. For instance, why do I continue to max out my credit cards? Why can't I stick to my budget? I always feel guilty about the amount of money I pay for an item, right? Dr. Pondit states that the mind is driven by the senses, what we sense, what we feel, and that the senses crave the pleasures of the external world, and the focus on these objects, good or bad, give momentary. Just one moment, family. Okay. Euphoria, a feeling of being satisfied. Dr. Penner explains that once the mind realizes the emptiness of that experience, the senses drive the mind to look to the external world for pleasure, and what you constantly have is a revolving door between unhappiness and sensory pleasure, right? The mind therefore becomes frustrated and is in constant state of turmoil for lack of satisfaction and peace. This rings true in how we view ourselves in relation to our world. All right. And I just want to say that, man, that rings so true on so many levels, right? And a great observation of this is, look at all these like alpha male strategy guys, and everybody's wanting to have multiple sex partners and all these cravings and lusts. And what it is that they're looking to external pleasures to try to fill that emptiness, that hurt and that pain from either being rejected or lied to or mistreated. And so they're trying to mask that pain and hurt with covering with external sensory things. They don't fix the problem, only make the problems worse. That's why you're talking about men, having women in rotations and women having men in their rotations, multiple sex partners and stuff like that. And it's breeding all these, fatherless homes and women in poverty with children and men not living up to their responsibilities, and, no more, family unit is blended families and stuff like that. This is part of that problem, but it even goes beyond that. That's one of the focuses that I want to speak on in reading a couple of excerpts from my book. So, man, get this book, man. It's a great read. Hope you enjoyed it. All right, thank you. Peace.